my name is Linda,
And I'm Rachel.
and our channel is Truth, Trust, and
Transformation.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining today. If you like what we're talking about, please share, comment, like, and subscribe. And always, we're open to a conversation. So if you have conversations or you have a viewpoint that maybe is not on the same wavelength as ours, let's talk about it. Because we're always open to different points of view. I think that's why we've gotten to where we are in our journeys, because we're open to things.
And why we're still friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today we are going to talk about getting into Joe Dispensa. I have been doing his meditations off and on inconsistently for the past 6 years. And as of recently, it's came back into my routine, and I've actually gotten a lot deeper into it than I ever have before. So I've been doing his meditation changing boxes. I started doing that probably about a month ago, and where I was doing it very consistently. And then I started devouring his content again, because thankfully he puts a lot of content out there.
He does. Why don't you tell them who he is, just in case they don't know?
Yes.
Like what he's about.
Right. So Joe Dispensa was a chiropractor that got into a horrific accident, and doctors told him that he would never walk again.
Mm-hmm.
And he just refused to accept that. He didn't want to do surgery. He didn't want to end up on pain medications for the rest of his life. So he started going within and picturing his self-healing.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would visualize his spine healing from his cervical all the way down to his lumbar spine. And he said it took him a while to actually get there. He would get to a certain point, and then something would happen and it would knock him out of the meditative state, and then he would do it again and again and again. And I think he said in 6 to 8 weeks he was healed and he was walking again. So he said that if he could figure this out and he healed himself, that he would research and that he would find out the how, the why. And so he really got into quantum physics and just
a lot of neurobiology. From what I see in him is that he really backs up the spiritual stuff with actual medical proof.
Exactly.
That's what's so exciting to me, because I, as spiritual as I am, I can be really skeptical and dark and yeah, that's great for you, so thanks, and I don't know if it'll work for me, that kind of thing. So, but having the science where they did brain scans and blood work and all of that thing, it's oh, well, that's hard to repute,
Exactly. And then people's stories too, and their
Yes.
experiences, where you're seeing people that came in wheelchairs and that by the end of the 7-day retreat they're up and walking.
Mm-hmm.
People that were on oxygen, they don't need oxygen anymore. And I'm not saying that is every single person's experience, but it's happened to a lot of people. So he just came out with a new documentary. I don't know how new it is, but it's on Amazon Prime, and it's called The Source. And I watched that and I was just blown away. The whole time I just had goosebumps. And following his work as much as I have, I know these stories. I've seen them because he posts testimonials on his website all the time, or on his YouTube channel. But just to see it all in place, and he had all these scientists on there saying this is crazy, there's no way, this doesn't make sense, but then the data's there, so they can't they can't deny it because the data is there. So it's just really opening up this whole realm that nobody has ever talked about, combining the medical with, like you said, the spiritual, and just really seeing how powerful it is when you just let go. I think the thing I resonate with the most, I'm not a visualizer. I think it's just not something, some people can visualize very easily. And for me, when I would go through meditations and they're visualize this, it would always get me stuck because I'm in my brain and I'm I don't see anything. What am I supposed to see when I close my eyes? Is it supposed to look like a picture? Is it supposed to be I'm looking at it? Because all I see is darkness. And so I love the fact when he's in his meditations, he's I'm not telling you to visualize.
Right.
I'm telling you to sit still in the unknown and in the darkness and feel. And I have no problem with the feeling part. Like, that's what I would always do when I would meditate. I would feel my body buzzing and almost feel like it was asleep. And so now that I've been into it deeper, I'm actually getting into a point where I almost feel like I'm checked out. Like, I don't feel my body anymore. I'm just like sitting in the darkness. So it's
peaceful there, though.
It is.
It's peaceful there.
And it takes a while to get there. People are always like, I can't meditate. Like, my brain is going a million miles. But that's part of the process.
Throw a decade at it.
That's part of the process.
Yeah,
like, honor your thoughts that are coming in. Surpass, acknowledge them, and then just keep moving on. Don't focus on it.
Well, it's like honoring your own humanity and your own experience. And when I first started meditating, I was so anxious. And when I meditated with other people, I was so anxious, but I just kept at it. And my experience now with, should I do this now, Joe? I've seen a huge change in Rachel over time, really big. And so when she tells me, oh, well, Joe Dispensa, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it another try. Because I have been privy to these ideas for a very long time because of the spiritual communities that I sing for. And it's taken a really long time for it to sink in. And I've listened to Joe Dispensa before, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, but not yet. Or, like, I just wasn't ready for the full thing. And I also noticed, like, Gene Houston also has a quantum thing that I bought, and I listened to it, and I'm like, I'm already doing all of this. So I'll just keep doing it. And sometimes I listen to things, and it's a reminder that I already have a lot of tools. But then this last time, because I had a bit of a spin out, which was my breakdown before my breakthrough. Now I'm in the breakthrough part, which is much more pleasant. And I'm listening to him, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I feel really called out. Like on the way that I think about myself and my life and my identity and how I identify myself and how that affects me. And the way that he speaks about meditation, about just going into the silence. And I've been wanting to do sitting meditation again for a while, but that was what sort of flipped me over the edge. And so now I've added that back into my practice in the morning, and I feel so much better already. And it's like I picked up, it's not like I picked up where I left off, because I've done all this other work. And so I picked up way further down the road. Like, I can still get squirrely or whatever, but the peace that I feel, even when I've had a squirrely meditation, is deeper than it's ever been, because I'm less afraid and more skilled at these things.
Right.
So, but the challenge of that whole, your person, I don't have all the phrases down. I'm going to binge on this stuff for a long time. Like, I'm going to listen to it over and over and over again. Your personality,
your personal reality,
your personality reality creates your personality. And before I started listening to Joe's stuff again, I was like, my circumstances and my personality are creating a really not so good situation for me, because my personality is so, I'll take care of it, I'm going to do it. I get really intense on things and I want to get them done right, which is a good thing. But if I take it too far, it's a bad thing. And so then I have this body that has its limits, and I'm always trying to push the limits of my body to get where I'm going, and then I get exhausted. And it's partly my fault. And I have to face that and admit that. But then I also, like, what programs are running in my brain that are telling me what my limits are. And that's where I felt really called out on. It was like, oh, shit.
Same here. Like, just little phrases we say. Like, I always say, I'm not a morning person. I'm not this. And it's just like, I was listening to, like, in the Progressive Online, and he talks about that. He's like, you're claiming that. That doesn't mean that.
Is that your affirmation?
Exactly. And it's like,
I guess it is.
Oh, yeah, shit.
It's like, what are we affirming? What are we thinking? And also, like, what are we putting on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things that I'm so grateful for is this awareness that I have. Like, I went to the beach yesterday. I didn't take my dog because he's just not well enough, but I knew it was a dog beach, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get to see all these other dogs. And I'm walking down the beach and I'm wanting to interact with them. Their owners aren't wanting me to interact with them because they want their dogs to be disciplined and not bother people. And I realized, I'm like, that's not fair of me to be sort of enticing their dog to do something it's not supposed to do. And in the past, that my part in that situation would not have been apparent to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, ooh, girl, you need to handle that differently. You need to ask permission. And permission is a big thing in a lot of healing worlds. It's like, the healer gets on the person and it's like asking the body, do I have permission?
Exactly.
And the whole consent business. And I'm just grateful that I keep realizing things and I can continue to refine myself. And I feel like coming back to this work that he's talking about, which he's not the only one that does it, but the way he does it is so grounded and real and not too woo woo for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm woo woo. I'm very woo woo.
Yeah, more so than I am, I think.
Yeah, but I also really want to watch my language around it, and I also really want to watch that I don't shame myself for the time that it took me to get to the place where I think I can go further with this work, about changing the way that I'm thinking about something in hopes to actually heal. Because I've had a lot of people say, shamans, people that whatever, say, if it's epigenetic, we can change it. If it's genetic, you're kind of screwed. And the main thing that's wrong with me is genetic. But what I'm hearing Joe Dispensa say is you can change the way that your genes are showing up in your system. And I can remember also a chiropractor who is brilliant telling me there's something about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and trauma that when you put those two together, it's like an explosion of nastiness. And that's what I think. But that doesn't mean that I can't overcome my trauma. And that doesn't mean that I can't, with this work, potentially redo how those genes are showing up and lessen how they're affecting me.
Exactly.
That is my new, like, my mind's kind of like,
like, yeah.
Like, possibilities. And I ain't dead. I'm not even close. And my voraciousness is going to be on my side with this, And then it's like in Alexander Technique, they say stop your initial reaction, because Alexander Technique is all about how you use your body all the time. Like, are you directing? Are you lengthening along your spine? All of this thing. And basically an Alexander lesson, I know this is a tangent, but you're getting in and out of a chair and trying to learn how to do it properly. And I did that for 2-3 years straight. I go to a lesson. It's just like going to yoga. And she's like, stop your initial reaction, because my initial reaction was to go into some posture that was going to cause my body problems. So, and this is the same thing with our thoughts, like being able to notice our initial reaction and then make another choice. It's like choose again or begin again. And that takes energy.
Exactly.
So it's like, you have to make sure you're not so busy and strung out that you don't have energy to have presence for that. Anyway, that's sort of my little deal on it.
Yeah, and it's mindset too, because you see people that have been born with like cystic fibrosis where they literally have healed themselves. So it's like him teaching you you're not your body, and so you're going into this space where the quantum field, and you're going into the space where that's not your body anymore. So with his work, he's talking about all the different timelines that you're on and stepping up into a different timeline where you don't have these issues. And it's really hard because I'm in the medical field. So like to wrap your brain around that, you're just like, of course there's always that doubt. You're always like, can that really happen? Like, yeah, it's happening to this person, or yeah, it's happening to that person. but like it hasn't happened to me yet. But he talks about some people have like spontaneous healing, and some people it takes a year or two, and I think it just depends on how deep you're able to go and how much you're able to let go. And for me, it's really been a process, but I can't, like, I'll be driving in my car and I'm just like smiling. And it's just like, I feel so, like right now, I feel so happy. And I want to tell everybody, it's like, oh my God, I'm doing this and you should do it too. And it's just like, I want to share it because it's so profound and it's so, like right now I want to cry. Like it's so, I just feel, I've never felt this happy. I've never felt this.
I've never seen you this happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that it does for me too, I'm going to get all verklempt. The world, my personality, okay, which I think is also my soul. This isn't just what I'm choosing, is that I feel things very deeply and I care about the world very deeply. And it's hard sometimes to maintain hope. You know, like, oh my God, things are just getting worse. But that's also, you know, what's coming at me. And if you look around the corners, there's people that are, you know, talking about all of the good that's happening. And this is part of that. And it's like, okay, well, if all I have real control over is myself, and I understand the influence that other people have had on me, they don't control me, but they have influence. Then I understand if I become as radiant and centered and full of life and joy and goodness as possible, then that's going to be what's going out into the world from me. And so the idea that I can foster that growth in myself and then spread it around gives me a lot of hope. I mean, and what else are we going to do?
Exactly.
I mean, say the world does go to hell in a handbasket, at least we did the best we could as we went along, you know? But I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. One thing that has really turned me off in like the spiritual community, where I would like just follow this person and this person and this person, and it's like how much their stories contradicted. And I get that that's their experience, and so that's their experience for them. That doesn't mean it's going to be my experience. But the fear that they put out there, like, this is the end and people are shifting to the 5D and other people are going to fall away, and just so much gloom and doom. And I'm like, is this really what is supposed to be, like, is this really what you're supposed to be sharing with people? Because if you're sharing the love, the light, and all of those things, like, the gloom and doom kind of falls away.
Yes. And the judgment that comes with that too, that's the other thing. Like, I never want someone to watch what we're doing or listen to me in person and feel like it's not okay to be where you're at, because I've had people do that to me in times when I was in a really rough spot, and I don't want to say legitimately rough spot. If you're in a rough spot, you're in a rough spot, but there was good reason for it. And it was just like, that's not helpful.
Right.
You know, because I just feel judged and I feel like I'm not healing fast enough for you. And it's like, this isn't about you. But, and so that's something that's very important to me, is that whenever something's shared, it's like, this might not be right for you right now.
Right.
Anything that we do might not be, it might be bad timing. But I just don't want anyone to ever feel like, oh, well, I don't get that right now, and so something's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we're creating that judgment. Like, that person might not even really, that's not the place that they're coming from, but because we're so ingrained to be reactive, and then that's what we're like, okay, like, they're placing judgment, but a lot of times they're not. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people that do, like, judge, and, like, usually you know those people, but I think genuinely most people, I hope, are coming from a place of love.
And that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because when I'm in a hurt space, it's really easy for me to be defensive and like that. And that's a good, I'm going to remember that. Thank you.
Yeah, we all do that though. Like, your defense mechanism is like, wait, hang on, like, why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? Like, it's making me feel, but it's like, it's making me feel. Like, I'm choosing to feel that way by what you're saying. And so for me, that's been a huge thing because I'm able to receive things more and not feel so hurt or so offended or
Yes.
defensive or I think just really hurt. Like sometimes it's like they're saying that and like, wow, that hurts my feelings. And then I'm like, why does that hurt your feelings?
Right. Well, asking why is all why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the whole going back to that idea of letting go. What I'm liking about what I'm seeing in you is like you let go so much faster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm getting there, but I'm admiring that because I'm like, ooh, I could do better.
And I still
and I want
find
to do
myself,
better, and I know I will.
I still find myself like somebody will say something and I'll get into this reactive place and I'm like, why am I reacting that way? That's like, you know, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they just need someone to be kind. Maybe they just need something. And instead of me putting it on myself and like internalizing like their reaction or how they're feeling, I just try to look at it a different way. And 100% of the time, if I do that and I'm able to step outside of my emotions and I respond in a different way, then their mood changes and then their response to me is different.
Yes.
And that's huge.
I've found that over time with some of my relationships that used to be, you know, I changed.
Mm-hmm.
I decided, no, this is not how I want to be ever, but especially here. And then all of a sudden the other person's relaxing, the relationship is starting to change and grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's really what I'm working through, like with my daughter, like definitely being less reactive and less like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And so because I've changed the way I react, she still hasn't changed the way that she reacts, but I feel less stressed by it. Yeah. And I try to say in a different way, like, why are you reacting that way? Do you realize, like, if you just don't always go to that worst place scenario and stress yourself out because you're the one that's stressed out, like, if you stop going to that place all the time and just maybe sit and breathe and then think about like why you're reacting that way, eventually you can change it, because otherwise you're just in like constant chaos. Right. Constant tornado, constant like stress all the time. And it's just like, I want her to change that. And lately, because she'll always say little comments about me, and I'm like, that's not me. Like, that's, you're doing that. That's, you're not putting that on me. I'm not accepting that. So stop doing that, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, something I've been thinking about this last week is actually, how can I be curious rather than controlling? You know, like asking from a place of curiosity of like, so why do you think that way? Or why is this bothering you? And then, because when we try to control people, they just push back harder. But when you change that to curiosity, you know, it takes the weight off of everything. Because what the hell are we doing here anyway? I mean, we're just learning stuff. And everybody's on their own little path. And, you know, some of us are parallel and some of us are like crossing lanes. And, you know, I take things too seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I take things way too seriously. And I think that it's my job to fix it. And I'm saying this, I've gotten a lot better. Mm-hmm. A lot better. And the less I'm in there, you know, the easier it is to let go and watch what happens and let it unravel and right itself again.
Exactly.
So, but with our closest loved ones and the people, you know, the people when I've been in meetings for, you know, codependency with an addict, the people that struggle the hardest are the parents, because they feel responsible. Mm-hmm. Even if it's an adult child, they're like, what did I do? What can I do to fix this? It must be something I did. And it's like, no, not so much.
Exactly. And that's hard as a parent, because when you see your child like spiraling out of control, you do tend to do that. But with me, I kind of have learned, like, I look back when I was a teenager and my life experience, and it was, you know, I was like rebellious and all those things. But then there came a time where, like, you know what? Why am I doing this? Because who is it hurting? It's hurting myself. So then I was able to grow and change. So I just look at, you give the kids the tools for them to be like good human beings and to be kind and just to contribute to the world, and they're going to make their own choices. And
Right.
I always look back at like where I was when I was their age, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I was doing this, this, and this, and so it's like, but
So
look at me,
yeah.
look where I am now. It's like such a night and day. Like looking forward, I would have never thought that I would be in the space that I'm in ever. Like,
and you never know. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you never know where someone's gonna end up, and holding that space and that faith, and actually one of the things that I like being is that resilience factor for my students, like that I can say things to those young people that they're not willing to hear from their parents. And that's another thing, is sticking them, you know, having other people in there.
Yeah, because you have a huge
your
influence, because you're like a safe space.
Yeah.
You're like a teacher, and even though you're not spending a ton of time with them, like in a day, daily, like what, you see them once or twice a week?
Once a week, usually.
Yeah,
for
so
half
you have
hour,
that huge influence on them because you're like a safe space. So I mean, so that's profound.
I take that really seriously too, and I keep refining that as well, how I interact with my students, so that, you know, they feel safe and heard, and that, you know, what they tell me stays there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know you've played that role with my daughters. Like, definitely. I know. I'm like, reach out to Linda. Like, talk to her, because you're not me.
That's right. They can't. They just can't hear it from mom. So, back to Joe. Is there anything else you want to share about that besides, like, go check him out?
Yeah, definitely. Like the progressive online program, it's a go at your own pace. And so you can go in there, it has all these modules, and once he talks about something, then there'll be a meditation that kind of like reiterates like what he just taught. And then once you get through the whole, like I devoured it. When I tell you I was done in a week, I was done in a week. And so now you can go back, and all the meditations are in the very last module. So I have just been going like every night. So I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to meditate every day, no matter what. And so last Friday nights are my really busy nights. So I don't usually get home till 1:30 in the morning. And I was like, no excuses. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate. And I'm, you know, at first I was like, oh, I'll just do a 20-minute meditation. I'm like, nope. Like, you're going to go through and do the meditation where you are. Because it's like 1, 2, I think there's 4 or 5. And I was on number 4. Because as you get to the end of the module, you have to unlock each meditation, and then you'll have access to all of them whenever. So I'm just like rotating through the different meditations. And I was like, nope, tonight it says I'm supposed to do the 47-minute meditation. I'm doing the 47-minute meditation. And so I've made that commitment to myself. And like I said, it's been so life-changing. I also, in the Being Supernatural, he has this chart. And so I've been doing this, and it's like you're putting your intention, and I gave you a copy of this.
Yep.
And so it's like you're writing a clear intention, and then you're focusing on the emotions, and you're focusing on the feeling. You're not visualizing. You're not trying to figure out where it's going to come from, because that's what a lot of people do. They're like, I want to win the lottery and I want to win $1 million. Well, you just limited all the other possibilities, because that's the place where you want it to come from. So he's just telling you, I'm going to put this up a little bit closer. So this is the chart, and he has this on his website. You can literally just print it off. So he tells you to take the thing that you want. So for this, it's a job. So you put a J, and then you write the little, so this is the quantum field, and then this is the energy coming from it. And then you write your intentions as to what you want, and then you write your feeling is how you're going to feel when you get these things. So I did this, and I did this last week. And so I've been looking at this 2 to 3 times a day and just feeling how I will feel.
Yeah, I have. Can I share a story about that? So some of this manifesting stuff, because that's what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I have an interesting relationship with it. Yeah. that sigh might get edited out. Anyway, I have manifested things like, stuff, furniture, things. My mom's really good at that. Like I tell her something I need and she's like, oh yeah, I found it. And I think I already mentioned that once. Uh, this house, I've been living in this house for almost 31 years. And my bedroom and bathroom upstairs had never been repainted. And it was starting to really bother me. And I take a lot of salt baths, and it was like Lutheran blue in there. And I was like, God, I want something different. And then I realized I wanted red. And then every time I was in that bath, I'm like, someday this is going to be red. It's going to be so beautiful and and I would sink into the feelings without even thinking about it.
That is what you were doing.
And it unfolded over time. And those two rooms are more beautiful than I ever even imagined that they would be.
Yeah, her bathroom and bedroom is fabulous.
It fills me with like such good feelings, and it's such an expression of myself. And all the spiritual juju that has come from that process, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. And so I'm like, well, why can't I do that with something else that I, until this moment, didn't believe that it could happen? And for me, it's like healing my body, having more energy. I'm just like, nah, that'll never happen. And now I'm like, maybe it will.
Yeah.
Maybe it freaking will.
That's why I shared
and that just even that thought of that possibility fills me with wonder. So we'll see. And we're going to check in, later how this goes, because when I commit to something, I'm like, I put my teeth in it and I don't let go. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty committed to following this work. And it came right at the right time, because it's like, yeah, I've been doing all these spiritual practices, but they were beginning to feel stale. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I started doing was playing music again. Like I had taken a month and a half off, and it was killing me. I was like, I'm so unhappy. I need to sing. I need to sing and play. And it didn't take long. So it's like, what is it that you need? Like, what do you need? What do you want? And just even like dosing it in a little bit at a time. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Because I think sometimes we think, oh, I just don't have time for that big thing. Well, just take a bite. Take a bite and chew it.
Mm-hmm. As you're talking about that, my body is buzzing. I have chills.
You buzzing?
Yes.
Yeah. I appreciate everyone who's listening and watching. I hope this is beneficial to you. We're just going to keep going. We have songs coming and more things.
We're going to share our journey. So I've already went through the online progressive, and like I said, I'm doing the daily meditations, and I'm not going to share like what my intention is yet, but I've got something wrote down, and I gave it to you. So eventually when you get to that space where you're ready to do it, you're going to write something down. You're beginning the progressive online, so you're a little bit behind me. So she's going to go through that, and we eventually together are going to go to one of his 7-day retreats.
Yes.
We are going to go, and it's going to be even more life-changing than what it has already been. I've just, when you start watching and listening to something, how things start coming up in your feed, and I've just been listening to all these people's stories and their experience. And then I was talking to one of my patients at work, and I was telling her so I had an experience, it was August 8th. It was the Lionsgate portal. And it was about 2 weeks I started the changing boxes meditation. And so it was 8-8. So I also do yoga nidra meditations. So I'll do Joe Dispensa, and then I'll do the yoga nidra, because that I can lay down and just it helps me go to sleep. So on 8-8, I did that. So I did the changing boxes meditation, and I always sit up. I have headphones on. I have a eye mask on, and just really zoned out. And then when I was done with that meditation, I laid down to do the her name was Kristen Rose, and she had a Lionsgate portal meditation specifically for the Lionsgate, the Yoga Nidra. So I laid down and did that, and I wasn't asleep because usually I'll just knock out and I'm asleep. I was very conscious, but I was like somewhere else. And I was laying there, and all of a sudden I felt like someone was like holding my wrists down and holding my ankles down. Like, so I was laying on the bed and I felt pressure in those areas, but then the rest of my body felt like it burst open. Ooh. And it felt like I was flipping. And I felt like all this light energy, but I felt like I was like flipping, and it didn't feel bad. But I can tell you I got scared because of the feeling of being pinned down. And now that I look back, I wasn't being pinned down, I was being anchored.
Okay.
And so my light body was being activated. And when I think about it, I wish I wouldn't have got scared, because I got scared, and like I started moving, and I was saying like no, and
not yet,
and I'm vibrating right now.
It'll
and I was like,
again.
why did this happen? Like, and now it's like it hasn't happened again, but I was scared. So it's very natural to be scared when these things happen, because at Joe Dispensa retreats, a lot of people, and I didn't know this until my client told me about it. She's like, have you heard of the blue beings? And I was like, no, what's that? And so she sent me some videos, because she had been to a retreat and she's experienced this. And when I started listening to it, I found this guy, and he was like, I was scared. He was like, I like meditate a lot and I do this, but you just feel this overwhelming sense of a presence, but you feel like this overwhelming sense of love, but then you still have the fear because it's something you've never felt. So that's one thing too. It's okay to feel afraid.
Yeah.
Like, because it's kind of like this scary new thing. And so I had to like let that go. Like, I didn't ruin anything. I experienced what I was supposed to experience.
Right.
And it's going to happen again, and whatever needs to happen is going to happen. So just like let go of that fear. Like the fear of, because it's not anything that's going to harm you. It's not anything that's...
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was my experience. It was crazy. I was texting my friend Denise, who has helped me a lot on the spiritual journey, and she was like, she's like, that's amazing. She was like, your body is anchored and your light body is activated. Like, she's like, this is the work that you've been doing. This is like the point. She's like, it's amazing. And then when I went back and thought about it, and I was like, well, why was I scared?
Well, it's just normal. All of that's normal. But that's a beautiful idea to be. I mean, that's kind of my goal, is to be grounded but light. Grounded but light. We good?
Yeah, we are. So we're gonna check back in and let you guys know our progress and see where this leads us. I'm excited. I'm just so happy. It's crazy. I'm just like so ecstatic. Like,
I'm getting there.
It's such a good thing. I'm excited for you.
I'm excited for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, and like I said, we're going to check back in. Please comment, like, and subscribe. If you guys have been to a retreat, like, let us know your experience. If you guys do the meditations, like, let us know. I'm really curious. I'm just so like encompassed in his work right now. It's just like it's so exciting.
All
right.
See
you guys again. Have a good day. I don't know why I always does that.
It goes to sleep.
Yeah.